So I call this um, sanctuary or snare. And I wanted to start out with a passage from Isaiah that reads, He will be a holy place for both Israel and Judah. He will be a stone that causes people to stumble and a rock that makes them fall. And for the people of Jerusalem, he will be a trap and a snare. Many of them will stumble, and they will fall and be broken. They will be snared and captured. And the context of this passage is that it's part of the vision that Isaiah received from the Lord. And my takeaway in the focus of this particular passage is really about not trusting God. So, what does this look like? The Lord is either a holy place, a sanctuary, or a snare. And we can see vivid examples of how the Lord has become both a holy place, a sanctuary, but also a stumbling block as we look throughout biblical history. The Bible tells us many stories of those who did not believe in God's supremacy and were crushed. The story of Nebuchadnezzar in the book of Daniel comes to mind for me. And Nebuchadnezzar lost his royal authority because he saw himself as the builder of Babylon, even after Daniel interpreted Nebuchadnezzar's dream for him, essentially warning him of his pride. And Nebuchadnezzar ended up going insane, losing all of his power and authority until he exalted and glorified the Lord. Psalm 18 also talks about this concept of God as a sanctuary or snare. And it reads, The Lord has rewarded me according to my righteousness, according to the cleanness of my hands in his sight. To the faithful, you show yourself faithful. To the blameless, you show yourself blameless. To the pure, you show yourself pure. But the devious, you show yourself shrewd. And Proverbs 3:34 gives an example as well of this. He mocks proud mockers, but shows favor to the humble and oppressed. And we also see this concept, this idea carried forward in the New Testament. 1 Peter 2 says, Now to you who believe, this stone is precious. But to those who do not believe, the stone the builders rejected has become the cornerstone, and a stone that calls people to stumble, and a rock that makes them fall. They stumble because they disobey the message. So we can look at these passages in the broad context, as we did with Nebuchadnezzar, but what happens when we look at them at a personal level? So for me, I came across these passages at a time when I was looking at where my own stumbling blocks are in my walk with Jesus. Where in my life am I not trusting him? Where am I not obeying him? Where's my faith lacking? And these are areas for me where the Lord becomes a stumbling block. Recently, the Lord has been reminding me of the importance of community and being willing to let the community help how and when it's needed. So I'm pretty independent and I'm very self-reliant and I live by myself. And I've recently, as Lucinda mentioned earlier, I'm been recovering from surgery. And it's one of those surgeries where the recovery is long and arduous. So in this season, I've been presented with a number of simple yet wildly annoying stumbling blocks. So for the first few days after getting home from being in the hospital, I couldn't be alone. Doctor's orders, right? So it meant several people, both family and friends, graciously volunteered their time and energy, disrupting their own lives to sit with me. So snow, who would have thunk? We haven't had a good snowfall in 3 years, and we've had two already, and tonight we're on the third. So I'm not able to shovel that snow because of the risk of falling. So my neighbor was kind enough to shovel both the first and the second snowfall. I've also experienced a lack of stamina to do my own grocery shopping, but fortunately, between my mom and my son, it's gotten done. I've also experienced a lack of energy to cook my own meals. I've been so blessed by the willingness of a number of people to provide meals when I wasn't able or just didn't have the energy to cook. And so, what the Lord taught me in this time was to let others help when we need it, that self sufficiency isn't always a solution. But most importantly, these amazing acts of generosity are treasured gifts to be remembered and cherished. So, as we go into a time of soaking, I wonder if you might ask Holy Spirit, where in your life is Jesus either a sanctuary or a snare? Thank you. Thanks for letting me share.